Today, I'm diving into one of the wildest and most painful stories of my life. The day my sister allegedly stole $15,000 worth of furniture from me while I was at work. My name is Lara, and if you're new here, welcome. I usually don't share such personal things, but this story changed me forever. You see, my sister and I weren't just family. We were inseparable. We grew up sharing the same room, whispering secrets until late at night, laughing at silly jokes, and protecting each other from the world. She was my best friend, my safe place. That's why what happened still doesn't feel real. I trusted her completely. We'd been through rough patches together, money problems, family drama, emotional breakdowns, but we always had each other's back. I never thought she would betray me. It all started on what seemed like a regular Monday morning. I woke up early, had my coffee, and left for work. I remember waving goodbye to her as she stood by the door, smiling like everything was normal. I had no clue that behind that smile, there was something else brewing, something I couldn't have imagined in my worst nightmares. She knew my schedule perfectly. She knew I'd be gone from 9 to 5, and I had no reason to come back early. I had no security cameras in my apartment, no reason to suspect anything. But that day, everything I knew about my sister, and about trust, was about to change forever. That week, things had been tough for her. She'd recently lost her part-time job, and I knew she was struggling financially. I'd already helped her pay a few bills before, and she often stayed with me when she needed a place to crash. I honestly didn't mind. She was my sister. I thought that's what family was for. But looking back now, I realize she may have been planning something all along. On the day of the incident, I remember feeling oddly uneasy before leaving home. Something in me hesitated, like a quiet warning inside my gut. But I brushed it off, thinking it was just another stressful day ahead at work. As usual, I left at 8:30 a.m., locked the door behind me, and texted her a reminder to take care of herself. She replied with a heart emoji, innocent and sweet. Little did I know, she was about to break my heart in a way that would leave permanent scars. Hours went by, and I stayed busy at work. I even called her during lunch, and she picked up, acting completely normal. No guilt in her voice, no nervousness. She was calm. Almost too calm. By the time I returned home 2 days later, after staying with a friend for the weekend, my entire world flipped upside down. The apartment felt eerily quiet, and when I opened the door, something felt wrong. The energy, the space, everything felt off. And that's when I saw it. The first thing I noticed was the silence. My footsteps echoed in a way they never had before. Then my eyes landed on the living room, and my jaw dropped. My brand new sofa was gone. Completely gone. I blinked, thinking maybe I was just missing it somehow. But no, it wasn't there. My dining set gone. My bedroom dresser, missing. My mirror, nightstand, even some wall decor, all vanished. At first, my brain refused to believe it. I thought maybe I had stored them somewhere, or that I had moved them during cleaning. It was such a ridiculous thought, but denial was easier than facing the truth. I stood frozen for what felt like minutes, my heart pounding in my chest. My hands started shaking as I walked through each room. The more I looked, the more I realized she had taken almost everything valuable. My expensive sofa, the one I spent months saving for. The elegant dining table I had bought for family dinners. My bedroom set, everything I was proud of. The emotional hit was worse than the financial loss. These weren't just pieces of furniture. They were symbols of my hard work, my independence, my safe space. And now it was all gone. I sank to the floor, staring at the empty space where my sofa once was. My eyes filled with tears, but I wasn't just crying over stolen furniture. I was crying over betrayal. I sat there for hours, trying to make sense of everything. Who would do this? I didn't have enemies. I barely had friends over. Then a thought crept into my mind. One that made my stomach twist. Could it be her? My sister? I immediately shook the idea off. No. She would never do that. Not her. Not the girl who used to braid my hair and share snacks with me during hard times. But then I noticed something. The key. The spare house key that I usually kept in the kitchen drawer was gone. My heart sank. That's when the puzzle pieces started connecting. She was the only one who had access. She knew I was gone. She knew what was inside. I picked up my phone, trembling, and called her. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. My messages were being ignored. The pit in my stomach grew deeper. Finally, after hours of trying, she answered with a calm, "Hey, what's up?" as if nothing had happened. My voice cracked as I asked, "Where's my furniture, Anna?" There was silence on the other end. Long, heavy silence. Then she laughed nervously. "What are you talking about?" That's when I snapped. I told her I had photos of my empty apartment, and that if she didn't come clean, I'd go to the police. That's when she said it. Words that burned into my memory forever. I just borrowed them. I needed the money. I was desperate. Hearing her admit it felt like being stabbed in the chest. She wasn't crying. She wasn't apologizing, she was justifying it. She told me she planned to sell some of the furniture and buy it back later when she got back on her feet. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Who borrows a sofa? Who borrows an entire bedroom set? I could feel my anger boiling. Do you even realize what you've done, Anna? You didn't just take furniture. You took my trust. She kept saying, "I'm sorry, Laura. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just didn't know what else to do." But every word felt empty. I had helped her so many times before, paying her bills, covering rent, even letting her live with me rent-free. But this time, she crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. I didn't even know how to respond. I hung up and sat in silence, tears streaming down my face. The one person I thought would never hurt me had just done the unimaginable. For days I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Every time I looked at the empty spaces in my apartment, it felt like pieces of my heart were missing too. That week, I filed a police report. Not because I wanted her in trouble, but because I needed to protect myself. Once the police got involved, things got messy. She avoided me completely. Family members started calling, asking what had happened. Some took her side, saying she was struggling. Others told me I did the right thing. It tore the family apart. Our mother cried for days, begging me to drop it. "She's your sister," she said. "She just made a mistake." But I couldn't let it go that easily. I had always been the forgiving one. But this wasn't just a small mistake. It was a betrayal of trust that left permanent damage. She eventually admitted to the authorities that she had sold most of my furniture for cash. She tried to justify it again, saying she was going to pay me back eventually. But the damage was done. When I saw her in person after that, she looked different, like a stranger. Her eyes didn't have the warmth they once had. We barely spoke. The silence between us was heavier than any argument we'd ever had. That was the moment I realized something painful. Blood doesn't always mean loyalty. Months passed. I moved into a new apartment, slowly buying new furniture, piece by piece. But no matter how beautiful the new space looked, it didn't feel like home anymore. It felt guarded. I had walls now, invisible ones. I no longer trusted easily, even with family. The heartbreak had changed something deep inside me. I tried to forgive her, I really did. But forgiveness doesn't erase memories. Every time I think about how confidently she lied to me, I feel that same sting all over again. I started journaling my thoughts, trying to process the pain. What I realized through it all was this: sometimes love alone isn't enough. You need respect, honesty, and boundaries. Without those, love turns into manipulation. I still love my sister, but it's not the same kind of love anymore. It's distant, careful, cautious. And honestly, that's the saddest part of all. It's been a year now since that day. We've spoken a few times, small talk, polite words, nothing deep. The relationship that once meant everything to me now feels like a fragile shell of what it used to be. I've learned that sometimes the people closest to you can hurt you the most. And sometimes closure doesn't come with an apology. It comes when you decide to move on, even without one. This whole experience taught me that trust should never be blind, not even with family. It's okay to love people from a distance if being close to them hurts your peace. To anyone watching this who's gone through betrayal, you're not alone. It hurts, but it also teaches. It shapes you into someone stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you for listening to my story. And I'd love to hear yours too. Have you ever experienced betrayal from someone you love? How did you handle it? Drop your story in the comments below, and don't forget to check out my video, How My Family Reacted to My Unconventional Career Choice. Until next time, this is Laura, signing off. Broken Heart.